Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. We begin today with a story about a fruit. According to the USDA National Agricultural Statistics Board, Americans consume nearly 400 million pounds of cranberries every year. The majority of cranberries are consumed in juice or sauce. Only 5% are eaten fresh, which is one reason why the Vermont Cranberry Company is so unique. It's the only commercial cranberry grower in the state, and it's been selling cranberries as fresh fruit for over 2 decades. Keith Silva visited the cranberry capital of Vermont, which can be found in Fletcher.
Bob Lesnikowski grows cranberries in Fletcher, Vermont, and that's no lie.
I didn't know you could grow cranberries in Vermont. I've been asked that a million times, and I can't even come up with a good lie.
Truth be told, cranberries are native to North America. Sessa Muniesh, the native word for cranberry, grew wild from the mountains of Georgia to Quebec's cold climes and as far west as Minnesota. It wasn't until the early 1800s that cranberries began to be cultivated in bogs, starting on Cape Cod. The Vermont Cranberry Company is a bit of a throwback to the early days of cranberry cultivation.
We're not a water harvest. Most cranberries are harvested using water as a medium to convey the fruit. Cranberries are how they float. You flood a bed, you knock them off the vine, you get them into a truck. Very easy, 100% of the fruit's harvested quite quickly. We are a dry pick operation, so we use the 1962 Darlington walk-behind cranberry picker for a couple reasons. One, water harvested fruit in our climate won't keep for fresh fruit, and we're a fresh fruit grower. 2, once you start a water harvest, you're committed. Once you start, you need to finish. That's the beauty of dry picking, is you can do a little bit at a time.
The cranberry is classified as a perennial shrub. The trailing vines form a thick mat that can take 3 to 7 years to bear fruit.
Our first harvest was, I believe, 1999. It was a small harvest. I think it was 300 or 400 pounds, believe it or not.
From a distance, it looks like Bob Lesnikowski is simply mowing the lawn.
It was in the first few years of the Vermont Cranberry Company that Across the Fence paid a visit.
You hear a lot about sustainable agriculture. People always just think of the sustainability from a low chemical input end of things. Small agriculture, most people consider sustainable agriculture, but if the enterprise isn't profitable, there's no way it can be sustainable. As far as what the ultimate, how much can be sold, it's a little hard to say. We run out of cranberries every year. I guess I'll be like every other farmer. We'll keep growing cranberries till we don't run out every year.
The walk-behind cranberry picker is still going strong. Along with fruit sales, Lesnikowski now sells juice. 2 decades on, the business remains a one-man operation.
It used to be our fresh fruit was 80% of our sales. Now it's split almost equally between fresh fruit and juice in either quarts or bulk to other beverage companies. We have approximately 3 acres now. We'll add a little bit more. It's what I can handle, pretty much as far as the growing end. It's a sole proprietorship in the true sense of the word. We have part-time packing help through the fall. It's a comfortable business to run on its own. We're looking into collaborating with a new winery, Calche Winery, to do a cranberry wine, a cranberry seltzer.
Lesnikowski received a Vermont Agency of Agriculture Working Lands grant to build a walk-in cooler. After a short stay in the cooler, the fruit is sorted and packed within 24 hours of delivery.
It's one more chance to get quality control on the fruit. And it goes through a sorter, and then it's all visually hand sorted. We like a really deeply colored berry. A sound cranberry will bounce maybe inch and a half.
The appetite in Vermont for local food, coupled with direct selling, continues to provide Lesnikowski with a sound business plan.
We made the choice to sort of ignore what the commodity market was doing, price it fairly, and market it locally. At that time, that was really the start of the local food movement, and we immediately got very good support from a lot of different customers, so we've been able to continue doing it.
We're making a cranberry honey demi-glace, and we're serving that with a seared duck breast.
Doug Payne is the head chef at Hotel Vermont in Burlington.
To us, it's really important to use fresh local ingredients whenever possible. The color is brighter, they're much firmer. You know, if you dropped it on the table, it would bounce almost as high as you dropped it. You know, they're nice and firm, they're not dented at all. You know, the ones you get in the grocery store around Christmas time or Thanksgiving, you know, they've been sitting there for weeks, and cranberries do last a long time, but, you know, fresh is obviously better.
For Payne and local foodies, Vermont cranberries aren't surprising, but expected.
Yeah, I think people are surprised sometimes to hear that cranberries can grow in Vermont because they think of, you know, coastal Massachusetts and, you know, these giant cranberry bogs that are flooded, and it's a different type of operation here. Bob's been doing it for a number of years now, and I think people have come to expect to see it in the local restaurants and grocery stores.
A lot of odds and ends up here.
When he reflects on the business he's built from these small tart berries, Lesnikowski thinks of home.
Cranberries are nostalgic. You know, you say cranberry to at least someone in New England, you think of the holidays. You think possibly that was the first dish that you made for the Thanksgiving table, because it's easy, it's cranberries and sugar. It has this connection of home and hearth, and I think as time goes on, I'm going more towards that versus trying to make cranberry a year-round crop, you know, concentrating more on the holiday aspect of it.
A perennial crop that returns every year for the holidays. The cranberry has found a home in Vermont. In Fletcher, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Thanks, Keith. Rain gardens are a beneficial and beautiful addition to any landscape. By reducing runoff and filtering water, rain gardens also create habitats for birds and butterflies. In this video produced by the Lake Champlain Basin Program, we learn how homeowners are doing their part to keep water clean for future generations.
Come over here. You guys start working on pulling. We're here at the Shelburne Community School. It's in the middle of the traffic circle where the buses load and unload the students every day. We've had at least 80 students out here to do all this planting. And the purpose of this rain garden is to capture all the water from impervious surface. Impervious meaning the parking lots and the driveway circle. And so all of the pollutants that were on the asphalt came right into this catch basin and had no opportunity for those pollutants to get filtered out. So the idea of reducing pollution is primarily to try and get the phosphorus out.
Community-based watershed organizations complete pollution prevention projects and provide technical assistance and support to local landowners.
These are called blue flag iris.
Rain gardens and other nature-based solutions to stormwater runoff help reduce phosphorus inputs to Lake Champlain and help local communities become more flood resilient.
I think a lot of people in the valley are looking for opportunities to be good neighbors, and whether that's trying to protect the town roads or improve biodiversity or what have you, they're looking for those opportunities. But in our day-to-day lives, it can be hard to know exactly what to do.
Clean water for our Mad River watershed and for the larger Lake Champlain watershed really takes everyone. There are a lot of challenges associated with ownership of land on a steep property related to water quality, and we're able to help people address the challenges that they face with their pocketbooks and the pollution and flood volume being passed downstream. The origins of StormSmart are in our Ridge to River Coalition, which is a group of people who came together in 2015.
The StormSmart program is generally based on an energy audit, but instead of tracking kilowatt hours, we track the path that water takes through the property.
I think this program really allows us to reach people who are in control of the headwaters.
Generally speaking, the homeowner and I walk around their home. We look at key areas like water that's coming off the roof, the condition and quality of the driveway, and then we just take a big picture look at how water is moving through that property. We use a number of different resources that are geared towards sort of small-scale stormwater management practices, and then I connect what I see on the property to these practices, and then I send that back to the homeowner. In the ideal version, we then go ahead and we implement some of these practices. By planting trees on your properties, repairing your driveway so that water sheds off it, you're doing your part so that the entire valley is able to benefit.
Lewis Creek Association has been active in sampling for water quality here in the Little Lake Champlain area. We're spearheading this ahead of the storm program. So we have lots of sites throughout Chittenden County, Heinsberg, Shelburne, Charlotte, looking at areas where we can improve water quality. The Ahead of the Storm program was built in about 2014. It grew out of some community members who were just concerned about water quality in Lake Champlain. The Ahead of the Storm program is really looking at three things. It's slowing water down, spreading water out, and letting it sink in. So here we're in Charlotte, we're along Greenbush Road, and there's a homeowner here who had some issues with water coming down the road behind us here through the ditch and really spreading out across their driveway and causing flooding. Through the Ahead of the Storm program, we helped them make this rain garden behind us happen. So essentially what this is it's treating runoff that comes from the town road. So now we've dug out an area next to their driveway, put in some better soils there to help that water infiltrate into the ground, and planted some water-loving plants that can survive both wet conditions and dry conditions. This is really one small thing that somebody can do, but if we can get more landowners involved and doing this type of project on their own property, then the greater impact we're going to have on the lake.
And that's our program for today. Once again, thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.